Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, one of the tips that I wanted to pass on is, one of the important thing is if you're fishing, you have to know if a fish is taking your lure. Now sometimes that's really obvious. You'll feel a great big tug on the line, or all of a sudden your rod will start doubling over and you know something is happening. And so you set the hook. But so many times most fishermen aren't even aware that a fish is taking that bait in and spit it back out, and they'll do that within a fraction of a second. So what it's important to learn is how to feel if you have a strike, how to know what you're looking at if you're seeing the telltale signs. And some of those signs are things I've talked about before. Watching your line to see if you see a little twitch. If you see your line twitch at all, it means that fish might have picked it up and is about to spit it out. So you set the hook then if you're fishing artificial lures. And it's the same thing with no matter what kind of lures you're using. If you're using flies, a lot of times people have to use a strike indicator, something on their line, a float of some kind, to tell them that a fish is taking that fly in, because they'll do that quickly. And you won't feel it. You won't feel it unless you really have a good sense of the line and your rod and can feel it all together. But it's important that you learn this. And I was talking to my buddy Dave Swanson this week. He was telling me about the great perch fishing he was having, and he's discovering that it's all about the feel. He's using light line and light rods and little bitty artificial baits for perch. And he told me this week the thing he discovered is he went fishing with his friend who was an avid perch fisherman, and his friend couldn't even feel the strikes. He said the difference was Dave was using a single little hook tied it right directly to the line, whereas his friend used snelled hooks that you can buy at any store. They have the leader already on them, and you tie that on to the end of the line. And that made that much of a difference of feel. It's being able to feel that slight touch. And that's so much a part of what we talk about finesse fishing. So in another report, we talked about presentation. And I think another thing that's so critical is you develop a feel for what you're doing. And it's a very intimate sport. It really is. As good as I think I become at some of this kind of fishing, I know that I miss an awful lot of strikes. I don't even know the fish is there. And it doesn't matter what species. They don't all strike savagely every time. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.